what does it mean? When we, even in our topic today, we are saying restoring excellence and trust in county governments. So you have to tell us what performance management is in the context of a government, and then why do we need to restore trust?
Yeah, thank you very much. I think I would borrow heavily from the concept that was sent to us by GIZ, if Teresa would permit me. The document, if you read it, it is a hugged document. There are two sides hugging each other, and the document says, I will paraphrase, that performance management is a coordinated approach, which means it is multidimensional. It has many facets. And this coordinated approach is intended to align, mark these words, very powerful, align government policies to ensure that they speak to strategic priorities, and that these priorities must operate on an operational plan, the intention of which is to use resources which are scarce effectively and efficiently so that the outcomes can be measured. So in terms of, I look at performance management as a system. County governments are not a one-person show where it is MCA, governor. No, it is a system where there are many actors. And these actors should have a synergistic relationships in which they collaborate, and their intention is one goal: timely realization of what transforms the living conditions of the people.
So let's now go to actually a case study, and we have a governor here with us, Governor Dr. Wilbur Tichilo from Vihiga. We see very many at the national level, at county level, we see governors issuing performance contracts to their CECMs, the CEOs, going all the way even to director level, right? So some have argued that these are just tick-boxing exercises. You know, it's just a way to show that there's something that's happening. Is that really performance management? And because your county is one of those that is, you know, coming here and saying and bragging, you know, we are among the few counties that have institutionalized performance management. Tell us what that is.
Performance management in counties was enacted in our constitution of 2010. That's where it was made mandatory under section 47, that all counties must implement performance management. And every year, the governor must provide a report showing how performance management has succeeded to deliver the services to the people. This report is expected to be presented to the county assembly. So that's legal. So the law is there, making sure that we do the same. Now, I want to come to your question. Is this what is happening? First, performance management, when the devolution started, that's 2013 to 2017, there are very few, if any, counties that implemented that, because that was the formative stage of counties. So there was so much in terms of wrangling which functions should remain at the national level, which functions should come there. Performance management officially started in 2017. That is when we had a program called Devolution Support Program, which is a World Bank supported program that was formulated through Treasury, through public service, to ensure that counties build capacity in delivery of service through performance contracting, whereby the counties implement the programs that have been approved through CIDP, that is County Integrated Development Plan.
Let's go to the county assembly, because this is where the executives should be going to report to the people at that platform called the County Assembly on how they're doing with performance management. Question is, do the members of the county assemblies understand performance management?
At most instances, many people think that the county assemblies, people are not learned or they don't know what they're supposed to do. But I can tell you, many assemblies, we have doctors, we have lawyers, we have the professionals that we actually need. The issue is, as the governor has said, you find that you pass the ADP. First you start with the CIDP, then you do the ADP, and then you do the annual budget estimates. Now, I want to give a good example like last year. The county had this beautiful program development, what they're going to do, but when it reached January this year, halfway the year, you find that the budget are cut. We get budget cuts. So do you expect at that instance you'll achieve? No. But I want to tell this audience here that as assemblies, we have a tool. And right now, if you go to the assemblies, the various assemblies, you will know whether the county member that you voted for is performing or not performing. Because our main role, number one, is to make sure that you do an oversight over the executive. And most of the oversight is done in the committee, not in the plenary. The plenary is just a report and then it's tabled, but most of the oversight is done in the committees. Therefore, why am I saying this? It is that you find that most donors would come to a county, they sit down with the county executive, a project is done. The assembly is not aware, it is at times not put in the budget, and then all of a sudden, you find that a project is done there, another one is done somewhere else. As an assembly, you cannot actually comprehend because you don't know where it all started.
Is that the same understanding that we citizens have of performance management? Or what is it that we think of?
Okay, thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. I'd like to speak to that from two perspectives, the citizens, and then we have organized groups that basically represent citizens. So the Constitution of Kenya provides for citizens to participate and engage in all governance processes, including performance management. So when you look at the service delivery cycle, right from planning, budgeting, implementation, monitoring, and evaluation, there are opportunities for citizens to engage. And we've seen counties whereby citizens have actually, or rather they have models, documented models of good citizens engagement. However, on the other hand, we can't say that it is sufficient. Reason being, there are various challenges that citizens face in trying to engage in performance management. Honorable Speaker has told us that, reports are uploaded on websites and citizens are welcome to come and actually review those reports. However, we have received information from citizens that at times this information is not in a format that they would understand. So of course there's the issue of the capacity for them to actually review these reports, understand what they mean, and therefore provide feedback to the county assembly or the county government on how best to improve service delivery. But in addition to that, there's also the platforms to engage. I look at my grandmother in Budalangi, she's an active citizen within her own, her own village. However, she may not know where to plug into to hold her governor accountable. Yeah, so there's the whole issue of platforms to engage. There's a whole issue of information in a manner that the local citizen can actually digest. But also, in addition to that, we appreciate that civil society is doing something.
We complain that the government is not giving us a lot of information. Do we really seek information?
I think as a country where we are at right now, we are really yearning for information. The past 1 year goes to show. And what that means is it took something radical that created appetite for all Kenyans basically to try and know what's happening in terms of governance circles. So in terms of appetite, we actually do have the appetite. And I think this is something that we as governance players should actually ride on right now to ensure that we avail that information, so that the fact that citizens are questing for that information, let's make it available to them. Let's work with the actors like civil society to build their capacity to be able to understand what that information means. And let's create platforms to sit and actually dialogue with them, get their views, and ask ourselves, what does that mean for us when we're looking at improved service delivery?
How is performance management actually utilized in Germany or actioned in Germany? And what are the hits? What are the misses? What lessons have Germans learned over the years?
Thank you very much. Eric, is it okay if I remain seated? I ate too much fish, I think, for lunch.
Yeah, plus you're tall enough to be seated.
Thank you very much. Now, first of all, I think the constitutional process here in Kenya that brought along the revolution was at least a little bit inspired by the German model of a decentralized power. The interesting thing in Germany is that it was a sort of imposed concept by the Allies after World War II to weaken Germany because they feared a centralized power that they felt under the Nazi regime that began the Second World War, and wanted to avoid this to be repeated. That's why they said, okay, we create at this time 11 regions in the west and 5 regions in the east, in order to make the system so complicated so that the Germans have enough to do with themselves and don't make another war anymore in Europe. By the end of the day, after 20, 30 years, I think we all, historically, we can realize that this was a very big push forward for the economic and social infrastructural development of our country, and still is. Because it is not only Berlin, but it's also Frankfurt, Munich, Hamburg, Stuttgart, and a lot of other cities within the 16 Länder that we have today that perform very, very well.
What should we look out for?
Thank you. Let me take this opportunity to thank you. And I first want to start where the professor has left, that it has to be coordinated and integrated approach. Why am I saying this? It starts with the public participation we have talked about. When county government officers go out to the field during budget making, they first have to listen to the needs of the people, and then interpret those needs again in making their budget, right? Then after the budget making, we go to the level of implementation. Then we go to monitoring and evaluation of that process, then the results.
Actually, what he has said is correct. We do not have a legal framework for performance management. And that is where the problem is. And therefore, even at the national level, you see performance management is only handled through these frameworks, or like, let's say, recently they issued performance management guidelines, which were issued in December 2024. But there is no legal condition that you must do this. And therefore, even if you go to the ministries, I'm not very sure, but I'll talk about the counties. Counties, you won't find any county that has a fully-fledged performance management directorate that coordinates performance management in the entire system. In fact, performance management at the county level is treated as a subsidiary, as a compliance. So for that reason, it's very difficult to integrate this system on performance management in the entire governance system until a legal framework is availed and capacity building is done.
I can echo the ambassador. I've talked about the specifics where a governor claims that he has inherited 1,000 ghost workers. So we have things that are beyond us. For example, number one, the governor has 5 years to implement his manifesto, but he can only do in the first 1 year or 2 years. In the third year, we will have competitors coming in, and he will no longer be campaigning. He will be doing his campaigns. Secondly, because you have said that, Professor, you have said that it's an ecosystem. It's an ecosystem of many players. We have the citizen. The role that the citizen plays to ensure that you have leaders in place that are stewardship leadership. So, is the citizen enlightened then? Because if the citizen is enlightened, then you will have a stewardship leadership that will make sure that there's professionalism in the county government, there is performance in the county government, there's results that speaks to the people.
I'm not going to summarize. I just wanted to really say thank you very much to all of you here, panelists, moderator, everyone behind the scenes, my whole team and technicians, everyone. So thank you very much. I think for me it was very stimulating. It's good to see that performance management is becoming more maybe a front loader than a back burner. And I, for myself, at least will take away that, sometimes maybe we don't need to wait for all the frameworks to be finalized, even though my own program we're helping to do so. But it's fantastic to hear innovative, ways of doing things. Just do it. Performance can be measured, and I think you've all performed very well here this afternoon. So please take it to the counties, to the communities, and to the national government, and see what we can do to drive performance forward. So it's definitely something we as the team, we will really take your points and the discussion. Very happy about your contributions in the audience, also for being very honest. We'll take that on board. We are only in month 6 or 7, I think, of the program, so we can adjust. We're also learning, and we want to, of course, see how we can best support you, Kenya, in furthering devolution and performance management. So thank you very much from GIZ, and have a good afternoon and good evening, everyone.